Make a Path presents Let's Talk. HBO's Season 1, Game of Thrones. Alright guys, to start it off, I made a pros and cons list, and I thought it would be nice to bounce back and forth. I do want to let you know, there will be some spoilers here. Minor spoilers. I'm talking, there's going to be one spoiler I'm going to talk about where it's actually revealed in the very first episode, and it puts all the wheels in motion, put it that way. However, it's not like this major spoiler, and I will talk about that closer to the end of the video. If you don't want to know anything, you should probably log out, before we get there. Now, to start it off with the pro, the first thing I wrote down was this was not hard to follow at all. I was actually pretty intimidated, and I was like, okay, I gotta glue my eyes to the screen and focus on every little detail. I even put subtitles on. I do that every now and then to make sure I'm following a difficult story, but I didn't even need those. Once you realize this person's name, 4 names, put it that way, 4 family names, you're good. You're good. I said 4 family names, but it's not quite family names. You'll see when I get there. To start it off, we're going to follow the Starks. You have Ned Stark, Lady Stark. You have son, daughters, and bastard son. I might be missing a son or two in there, but pretty much the Starks. That's a family. Then you have the king. And again, if you're a hardcore Game of Thrones fan, I am simplifying it, so fall back. You have the king. King Robert is a very good friend of Ned Stark, the leader of the Stark family. Now, another family is the Lannisters, and for simplicity's sake, we're going to say the Lannisters are enemies to the Starks. The Lannisters, however, the queen is married to the king. That is pretty much your main unit of characters that you need to focus on. Now, there's sons and daughters and bastard children and other players rolling around here that you'll come to know. Totally fine. Now, outside of this, there is Dragon Lady and the Savage Army. Those are on the outside, and they most likely will clash with both the Lannisters and the Starks. Seemingly. I haven't seen the other seasons. I don't want to get into detail about where the families are positioned and everything else, but I do want to throw in there are these things called the White Walkers, and again, the fantasy elements are rather tame, at least in this first season. Moving right along to another pro, the landscapes, especially on Blu-ray. The landscapes are gorgeous. I loved the atmosphere, the landscape, the looks, the settings. Most of the time, they are downright perfect. Now, enough pros, let's knock out a con. I thought this show was actually a lot less epic than I was assuming it was going to be. Once you get wrapped up in this world, for lack of a better term, I'm sure it will feel more epic. There might even be more players coming in further seasons. As far as Season 1, it just felt less epic than I was assuming. On to another pro, I really like the medieval feel. I like the atmosphere. I like that it's about bloodlines and kingdoms and kings and queens and honor and war and more. I love all of that. I'm a big Braveheart fan. I love the medieval times. Again, except for some of the fantasy, but I really enjoyed that. And there was actually one scene, this is going to sound ridiculous, that I actually enjoyed the most. And it was them simply counting out how many candles they're going to need for a certain room. And I love that shit because so many times we see, either in older movies or history or whatever, we see these images of big feasts and banquets, even in our own history, And I, even as a kid, always wondered, what would it be like to be setting that up? To be, did they count candles? This is a perfect example. There was people who were working those jobs like we are today, washing dishes at some catering company, and you're like, this is bullshit. There was somebody who was out, I don't know, doing random crap around the castles that today we probably wouldn't even think of. There was probably somebody's job to, sweep dirt in front of the castle door, I don't know. But I love finding out things like that. It's awesome seeing the feast, but I think it's awesome watching them set it up. And in our real world, there was probably somebody counting candles. How many candles do we need here? We're running out of light in this part of the buffet room, whatever they called it. That's a stupid topic. I'm moving on, but I thought that was pretty neat. Another con that I want to highlight is some obvious moments. There's a couple obvious moments that really jump out at you when you're watching this, and you know immediately when you see it. That's foreshadowing. That's set up right there. And it's just so damn obvious. There's one where an important character and his woman, per se, they just share a long look, you know? And at that time, it doesn't have this dangerous undertone to it, but the camera lingers on them for so damn long. It is painfully obvious. It's like, you know what? Is this the last time they see each other? Because why else are you making this more than what the scene calls for? And I think that's a bit harsh. If that happened, if that was the last time those characters, at least in this season, were going to see each other, if they were going to be separated for a long period of time, it would be nice for us to rewatch it and go, oh man, that was the time that they last saw each other. That's heartbreaking. But to know that they just linger the camera right on that image and drill it into you like, oh, you're watching something important now. It bothered me a lot and it took me out of the moment. And that's just one example out of a handful I found throughout this season. Now back over to something I liked, the characters. The characters were interesting. Even the bastard son. I really liked the bastard son and his little side story with the wall. Now in season 1, it doesn't wrap into the main story directly, but I enjoyed that. I like that wall. I like that atmosphere. I like the idea of the Night Watch and everything like that. I really dig that. I'm even digging the White Walkers, even though it's a little bit confusing at this point in the story because I didn't look at any background information about what the White Walkers are and everything else. But for right now, it's holding my interest, and I enjoy that little splinter off from the main story. Now I'm going to move on to two cons that kind of intertwine. One is going to be the Khal Drogo. Oh man, I said that wrong. But anyway, his story was a little bit underwhelming. How his season 1 story concludes, it's rather dumb. It's not written dumb. He is dumb. Because his story goes from, look, I'm a badass, rapist, savage, and the next minute he's just falling off a horse. Now, I don't want to go into any spoiler territory, but he just looks too damn cool to end up where he ends up as far as how much story he gets. It was one of those characters where he looks really awesome and then he gets such a unimportant part. At least in season 1, I was disappointed with it a little bit. Even more so to the cute blonde that he takes on as a wife. She just seemed pretty much like eye candy. Combined with Drogo, visually, her and him and the dragons, the look itself, I was envisioning this something just totally epic, and that didn't happen. It was actually my least favorite storyline in season 1. Although I am hoping for a season 2 comeback with either of these two characters. They look awesome as shit. They have that visual look. Now, if we could just get us an awesome story that matches that awesome look, man, that shit's gonna be epic. Again, I will put in here, I have no clue what's coming ahead in the coming seasons, so if it already has came and went, whatever, I will be happy about it. Now, one scene I do want to talk about, it's another con, but it will be the last con that we talk about in this video. It's actually one that I was very disappointed I wasn't stoned and 19 again with a good friend of mine who was equally stoned. Because, man, I tell you what, I would have ripped my sides laughing. That's how ridiculous this scene was. And I don't mean to attack it, it's just what I was thinking of. It wasn't filmed bad. The way I took it, I probably would have just rather it not been in the season the way it was, in the show the way it was. I don't know how it was in the book, but now in the show, in the very first episode, we see the king comes to visit with his queen, and you see the queen's side of the family's got all blonde hair, her son's got blonde hair, and for a moment, you know, not thinking about the king and queen and all that, you know, bloodline and honor and everything, for a split moment, I was like, oh, she looks younger than the king. He must have took her on as his queen when she already had a kid, because that's clearly not his kid. You know what I'm saying? So for a moment, I had a moment of stupidity. But then it came up that that was his kid, and I was like, oh, shit. That's a weird casting choice. That's a ridiculous casting choice. So I made a mental note of that. I was actually going to pick that apart a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, people have different color hair, and so maybe I'm just being an idiot about this. Then there's this Scooby-Doo mission the one lead guy goes on, and he ends up finding a book, and the way they filmed it is it was like this big dramatic reveal, and he's literally reading off the members in the family, and he says black of hair, basically saying they have black hair. This person has black hair. This person has black hair. They get to the king. The king is black of hair. And then he turns the page and it's all like this epic discovery. And it's like the king's son, golden hair. And he looks up and it's just the camera freezes on him a moment. And he's looking in this book. And the book tells him what everyone in the world already knows. Not the world, but everyone in the kingdom already knows. He already knows this. He already knows the kids have black of hair, whatever. Now, maybe that book was something totally different instead of just identifying the color of their hair. But that's how it came, that's how it translated on screen. The book was simply saying, this person has black hair, this person has black hair, this person has golden hair. And he knew in that moment that that was the secret that got the other hand killed, the hand of the king. So it was like, just laughable. That's the only word I got for that. That scene... That part of the story was just absolutely laughable. Aside from that, that scene right there, that reveal, that part itself was probably the thing I liked the least, the absolute least about Game of Thrones. And in reality, that's not really that bad, considering some shows have serious flaws to them. I thought the pros definitely did outweigh the cons in Game of Thrones Season 1. I am actually very interested to see what happens in Season 2. However, I have not caught the bug yet for this TV series to where I run right out and buy Season 2. I'm personally going to wait. I think it's in stores for like $50, maybe $45 on Amazon. I'm going to wait until I find it on sale. HBO drops theirs down to $25. Around about $25-$30. I'll wait until a sale comes through and I'm going to pick up Season 2 and give that a shot. I do have a good feeling though that the more seasons I watch, at least right now I get this feeling that the more seasons I watch, the more enthralled I'll get with the series. And the more epic it's going to feel. And obviously the stakes are going to be higher. Obviously the characters are going in different directions because there was something crucial that does happen that kind of splinters the character out of their safety zone, let's say, their comfort zone. So I'm really interested to see what happens, you know, with that. And a couple other characters that were less interesting. I'm actually hoping that, and from the looks of some trailers, it does seem like they take more of an interesting storyline further on in the seasons. And I don't know why I'm trying to talk in so much spoiler-free riddles when you guys probably saw all the seasons so far. And I'm the only one playing catch-up right now. So... that was a little highlight video of what I thought about the Game of Thrones Season 1. Yes, I will be checking out Season 2, probably in the next few weeks. I'm sure I'll find it somewhere on Blu-ray. And that's another thing. I'm actually very glad I waited to grab this on Blu-ray for a good price because, damn, the picture quality on Blu-ray, especially when I have this TV that, oh man, I love this TV, man. Love it. And some of the scenes, I just wanted to jump through the TV and be there. They were so gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's in store for Season 2, and I'll make another video once I get Season 2 down. Again, if you guys are interested. I got a lot of people that are interested. I think most of the people just wanted to see what I thought about Season 1, because that introduces you to this world and these characters. So I'm not really sure if anyone's going to be interested in any follow-up reviews for the upcoming seasons. However, if you are, chances are I will be watching them, so it wouldn't hurt if I put a little video together for you. Alright, chances are if you're a subscriber to this channel, you have already told me what you thought about the Game of Thrones. Now that I've seen it, now's your time. What's your best scenes of Season 1? What are your favorite moments? Who are your favorite characters? I saw Season 1 now, so go ahead and let's have some discussions in the comments down below. I'm actually really eager to hear what you guys have to say about favorite characters and storylines. I'm actually kind of hoping that Ned's youngest daughter becomes a serious badass. I've seen her wielding a sword in a couple trailers here and there. Tried not watching them because I don't want too much spoiled, but I'm hoping she becomes a little warrior badass. Actually, that's probably one of my favorite characters right now, I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping she comes and avenges some shit. Alright guys, favorite scenes, storylines, favorite characters, moments, worst. You could put those down, what you didn't like. Leave those in the comments down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.